Okay.
So it's the year after we won the Super Bowl. Boxing.
So that was the New Orleans Saints bar. It's called the Black Magic Voodoo Lounge in San Francisco. You saw Saint Drew Brees, I hope, on the wall before I left there, and I'm about to get in the car. Say, Saints fans have fun even when they lose. I actually went to that bar back when they lost to the Rams on the blown call, the no call, in the NFC Championship game a few years back. And I mean, that place was pretty sad that day, but it was still a vibe throughout the whole game. All right, so we're gonna get into Casper. Gonna ride back down through San Francisco from the Saints bar where they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. What was it? 26-13? Got to see Jake Haener. Didn't look too bad at the end. And here we go. Gotta rewind here. So we got an NFL update. We're gonna start to pivot to 49ers-Seahawks. But the Chiefs today, they went 2 of 6 in the red zone, which isn't good. They haven't had a good start like the 49ers to their red zone efficiency. But the 49ers sure needed 2 of 6 last night, right? They were at 1 of 6, and it wasn't enough for them.
Heading to 20th Street and Church Street.
There we go.
Make sure your seatbelt
I'm going to the right destination
For
this
any
time as
questions,
opposed as
press
last
the call
time.
support button to speak with a rider support agent.
Those of you who are new to this, there it is. No driver. All right, so the Chiefs, 26-13 win, 2 of 6 in the red zone. We saw a big guy for the Saints. Saunders, yeah, it was Saunders. That he looked like he was 350 pounds. He's listed at 319, but boy, that was one of the more entertaining interceptions I've ever seen. It's interesting to me that Kansas City is also struggling in the red zone this year, like the 49ers, who the 49ers are 30th in the NFL in red zone efficiency. They were number 1 last season. The 49ers have dropped from 68 to 40%. Part of this is that we're still playing with smaller sample sizes, but that's obviously not all of it or even most of it. I think that a big chunk of it is Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers. I mean, I talked about this in a Waymo the other day. I was driving from, well, I wasn't driving, Casper was driving, but we were going from Ocean Beach all the way to the aquatic park on Saturday. And I dedicated several minutes to talk about the red zone issues and spacing. And the 49ers still didn't have the spacing that they needed in the red zone yesterday. And, you know, the biggest red flag for me when it comes to 49ers red zone issues is the fact that they're running goal line fades. And I know for a fact that Kyle Shanahan does not like running fades, but if he has to run the fade, then he will. He ran it to George Kittle against New England. That one worked, but George Kittle had to make an amazing grab on a perfect throw from Brock Purdy into triple coverage. It didn't work yesterday against the Arizona Cardinals. So Christian McCaffrey helps spacing, but the 49ers won't have Christian for at least one more game. That's this Thursday night against the Seattle Seahawks, so it's a quick week. So they really do need to figure out how to create the spacing, do a better job of that before Christian McCaffrey does come back. It might take a long, hard week for Kyle Shanahan. This is probably one of the weeks where he sleeps on the couch in the office. It might take some extra hard film study and adjustments from Brock Purdy, who said that he needs to be more aggressive in the red zone. It's a mentality shift for the 49ers. They have to be able to just break through the wall and get the ball into the end zone when they have a chance, because 1 of 6 yesterday, that's what, 16.7%. That's not going to cut it for this football team. The Chiefs, I mean, it's a balanced team. They can run the football. Today was Kareem Hunt back in the lineup for the Chiefs. Obviously, they can throw it with Mahomes. I know that they have some injuries, but they're still able to keep the line moving offensively. They're no offensive juggernaut at the very moment, but because they can play that solid defense. Remember how good the Saints looked over the first 2 weeks of the season with their new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, who came from the 49ers. I mean, they were putting up 40+. I know that the league has adjusted to Derek Carr and what he's been doing in Kubiak's scheme. They were running a ton of play action the first 2 weeks, made him get away from it. But still, what Kansas City's defense is doing is undeniable. They have been such a more balanced team over this most recent stretch of their dynasty than they were at the start of it. At the start of it, they were a middle of the pack defense, and Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill were doing crazy stuff. But things evolve. The Kansas City team has evolved, and they're playing better defense now, and it's part of a balanced effort that is spearheading things for the Chiefs. They're just winning. They're winning week after week with that sustainable run game and defense formula, obviously with a great quarterback at the helm of the entire operation. Anyway, the 49ers, if they want to meet the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl, if it's going to be the Chiefs coming out of the AFC, if the 49ers are going to find a way to turn this around to be the representative from the NFC, it feels like this Thursday in Seattle is an extremely important game. The 49ers are 2-3 right now. A loss drops them to 2-4. But even worse, they'd be 0-3 in NFC West games and 0-4 in NFC games. So once you're 2-4, which the 49ers were in 2021, you start having to talk about, A, winning a lot to get yourself out of the hole, but you probably at some point will need the help of tiebreakers. And the tiebreakers are division record and conference record. So this is a huge game for San Francisco as far as bigger picture, playoff picture is concerned, because you do not want to drop to 0-4 in NFC play and 0-3 in NFC West play. That really, really hurts your probability at getting stuff done later in the season. That being said, they are playing a Seahawks team that's beaten up. Neither team practiced today, but they released a practice estimation report, which is what happens on the Monday of Thursday games. The 49ers in theirs, they listed Charvarius Ward back with a knee injury, and he's been playing the worst football of his career. He even said that in the locker room yesterday. Charvarius Ward would not have practiced today, according to that report, with a knee issue. And to me, that's really fascinating because DK Metcalf on the other side, remember before the Thanksgiving game last year, Kyle Shanahan decided to override the defensive coordinator at the time, Steve Wilks, and he said, no, Charvarius Ward needs to follow DK Metcalf around. Well, if Charvarius Ward is either unavailable or he's somewhat limited in this game, and it seems to me he's been somewhat limited this season, that gives the Seattle Seahawks an advantage that they didn't have in the past against the 49ers. To give you a brief primer of this matchup, Seattle is the most pass-happy team in the league. They have run the fewest designed handoffs. I think they're only running them 20-something% of the time, like very, very little designed handoffs. They like to throw. Geno Smith, I know entering this past weekend, was leading the league in passing yardage. I haven't seen the updated total. I wasn't leading it because he's the most efficient passer, just because Seattle loves to air the ball out. The 49ers have the number 9 secondary right now, or pass defense, according to EPA per play. They viewed it as one of their strengths entering this offseason. As far as depth went, they might have to tap into that depth depending on what the status of Charvarius Ward will be. But the really interesting thing is that on the other side of the ball, the Seattle Seahawks still have a lot of injuries that have not been resolved. Uchenna Nwosu, their edge rusher, he's not going to play in this game. Mike McDonald, Seattle's coach, already said that today. Probably no Byron Murphy II. He's the defensive tackle for the Seahawks. I am not sure about Boye Mafe. He was also recently on the injury report for Seattle. And Reek Woolen, the cornerback. And that supposedly is the strength of this Seattle Seahawks team, the two cornerback positions with Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. Both of with Reek Woolen, he wouldn't have practiced today if there had been an actual practice. We're driving by San Francisco City Hall. This is tradition, as you guys know. I like to show you guys City Hall. It looks like and the bus stop is in our way now. That's great. So I'll flip it back over here. Looks like City Hall is not lit up in any specific colors tonight. But the Seahawks are interesting because their defense, they've got good corners. I'm not saying these are bad corners, but I don't know if they match up particularly well with the 49ers because they're not very physical. That's not the Legion of Boom anymore. And we'll see what the status of Reek Woolen is by tomorrow and then by Thursday, because that's obviously going to be significant for matchups in this football game. All right, there's the former state capital of California, now San Francisco City Hall, as we pass it on Van Ness. Also, a look at some of the performing arts buildings. That's the Opera, and then this is the Symphony, right near Civic Center in San Francisco. All right, let's continue on. We are 12 minutes away from a cool view. I did it right this time. Those of you who are watching this last week, I was in poor position when the car dropped me off, so I had to walk like up a hill, and it wasn't as smooth as I had hoped it to be. You know, I had envisioned more touchdowns in the red zone for the 49ers too, but that didn't happen either. Sometimes things don't go according to plan. He said that Bosa needs to be a game wrecker. I think it was a game wrecker yesterday. I think Bosa did plenty of game wrecking when he intercepted the Kyler Murray screen and ran it back. Should have been a big swing. The 49ers just were not capitalizing on some of the big swing plays that their defense and their special teams delivered yesterday. Bosa, I mean, he went full 2019 Carolina mode for the 49ers. They then saw Jordan Elliott block a kick, and Diamond Lenore returned it for a touchdown. It's hard to believe that the 49ers wasted both of those plays. Like, to have both of them, and they're only 3 minutes apart yesterday, it's a tough one for the 49ers, really tough one to swallow. Because, you know, I don't think you'd find a talent analyst in the league that would tell you that Arizona's more talented than the 49ers. And obviously they're more talented than the Rams, and they also lost that game. So 49ers have to pick themselves up. There's a reason why we're already talking about the Seattle Seahawks. The book on Seattle is they have a new head coach in Mike McDonald. He was the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. This was, through 3 games, the number 1 defense in the NFL. I emphasize through 3 games because they faced really bad quarterbacks. So what was it? Skylar Thompson, Bo Nix, and somebody else who isn't very good. So I thought the Seahawks stats might be a little inflated by their first 3 opposing quarterbacks. I think that ended up being true because they went to Detroit and they just got completely mauled by Jared Goff, who didn't throw a single incompletion, and David Montgomery, who was bowling over Seattle cornerbacks. Goff was 18 of 18. Now, Seattle had an excuse or a reason, whatever word you want to use. They were missing almost all their front 7 in that game due to injuries. Some of those injuries still linger for Seattle. Byron Murphy II, the defensive tackle, Uchenna Nwosu. We'll see on Boye Mafe. I'm obviously not plugged into what the Seahawks are doing on a day-to-day basis because I'm covering the 49ers, but I'm following some of this stuff on social media, and we'll have more updates on how healthy the Seahawks will be defensively. So the question is, who exactly are the Seahawks as a defense? Because they've been really good against bad quarterbacks and terrible against good quarterbacks. And Daniel Jones, well, I don't know if he qualifies as a good quarterback, but he looked pretty damn good against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday when the New York Giants went into the Pacific Northwest and got a big win. So that's the book on the defensive side of the ball for Seattle. The offensive side of the ball is Geno Smith, who I don't think is a very good quarterback. Geno is a pass-heavy guy. He might be somewhere above average in this league. I mean, the vet savvy is worth something. He ran for quite a few yards last week, so the 49ers have to keep contained in the pocket. And he's obviously got DK Metcalf, and they still have Tyler Lockett on the football team. They got K9, Kenneth Walker, in the backfield, but they haven't used Kenneth Walker. They haven't been running a lot. They decided that they're going to be a passing team this year. They decided they're going to live and die by Geno Smith dropbacks, which I don't think is the smartest strategy, but maybe that's what Seattle feels they have to do personnel-wise when it comes to blocking and all this and all that. So they're going to drop back a ton. The 49ers are going to have to be ready to play some pass defense. It's all about the defensive alignments from Nick Sorensen in the secondary, and Brandon Staley obviously is doing a lot for the 49ers defensive backs, especially on the whiteboard. It's going to be a very intriguing short week test for them. I personally am still not sure what the 49ers have with their defense in either direction. I don't think that this past week was a great gauge because the defense didn't get much support from the offense in this past week. The offense left them out to dry in triple-digit weather. So, you know, the way I look at this is the 49ers defense showed me something in the first half of that game against the Arizona Cardinals as far as their ability to stop the run. But that was the first half. Down the stretch, they were gassed. And, you know, fatigue is going to play an issue because this is a Thursday night game. Plus, this is going to be a different kind of matchup. This is a team that throws more than anybody else in the NFL. So, a lot of uncertainty, I think, entering this game against the Seattle Seahawks about how exactly this matchup is going to play out, just because the tendencies of Seattle are so much different than anybody else the 49ers have played, and because, you know, we're still learning who both of these teams are. We're still learning who the 49ers are, and we're still learning who the Seattle Seahawks are. That's the matchup primer for you. What I can tell you as far as how the matchup went last year is, well, the 49ers dominated the Seahawks twice, especially on the road in Seattle on Thanksgiving. But they also had Christian McCaffrey, and they got revenge for the turkey on the 50. They got to eat turkey on Seattle's field. So that was cool from the 49ers. They had big games from several offensive players, starting with Brandon Ayuk, who scored the game-sealing touchdown for the 49ers, just a dagger on that post route. So Brock Purdy was also really good for San Francisco. We're going to pass the 500 club now, which is a cool bar. There it is here. Let's watch the turn. Let's watch the turn and then go right up to that neon light. Beautiful. Cool stuff. We're almost at the destination, guys. Exciting. So 49ers got it done last year. They've gotten it consistently against Geno Smith. He's somebody, again, he's a pass-heavy guy that the 49ers have played top-down defense against. Charvarius Ward has done a great job against DK Metcalf, and I think that the 49ers are still equipped to do a solid job against the Seattle offense. But the Charvarius Ward situation this year is at least somewhat concerning for the 49ers. He gave up the most receiving yards out of any 49ers defender this past week. It does raise some concern for the 49ers. Yeah, sorry, I know it cut out. I don't know why. Something with the cell phone reception. I had the car accidentally drop me off, like at this spot. Now I've become smarter. I've become wiser. I've adapted from my mistakes, just like the 49ers need to do. And I'm having the car drive me uphill. This guy, I hope this guy isn't it's an e-bike in front of me. That'd be a steep hill to try to
Don't forget your phone.
Try to pedal up. I would not try to pedal up this hill. This is a little too intense even for me. I like biking up hills, work out the legs. So this time we're going to be able to exit to the great view here in San Francisco. Maybe give you guys a little tour of Dolores Park, answer a few questions, go from there. I was just happy to right the ship after I messed this thing up last time. So we're going to say goodbye to Casper here in a few seconds. You guys can all prepare your questions. Looks like we found our spot to pull over. And I got to grab my backpack.
You're here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
So get your questions ready. We're going to be getting out. Give me a second. Got to get the backpack. I always put it in the back seat. Car is going to start barking at me for having the doors open if I keep this on too long. But I'll close them right now. There we go. This is going to be the most San Francisco thing ever. Just watch this. It's going to leave. Then the Muni train will appear, followed by the view. Pretty cool. Not bad. All right, I better get on the right side of the road or I'm gonna get hit. Gotta be smart about this. Make our way toward the corner of the park. Might be a good night to go eat some ice cream. I feel that our little Indian summer week is ending. It's a little bit cooler. It's not fully cool yet, but the temperature has definitely gone down, and I'm ready to answer some of your questions, so let's go for it. I'm gonna flip it around, give you guys the view as we cross. I'm looking at the screen now. Let's go. I feel somebody from LA is commenting. San Francisco is so far superior to Los Angeles in every single way. I don't feel that people from Los Angeles should try to talk in that regard. I mean, you can't do this in LA. You don't have an urban landscape. LA is not actually a city. LA is like this gigantic blob of suburbs that are connected where you have to drive everywhere. I know there's a lot of 49ers fans in LA though. And I love talking to them, but I also like pointing out that San Francisco is a far superior city. San Francisco is actually a city, unlike Los Angeles. Don't even get me started on the airports. 49ers have not officially signed a kicker yet. Nope. This is Dolores Park, by the way. We're just going to hang out here for a little bit. I'm not going to buy the mushrooms. No, there are no rumors of Robbie Gould coming out of retirement. Or there might be rumors, but there's no truth to them. Robbie Gould is coaching at Rolling Meadows High School in suburban Chicago, where Jimmy Garoppolo went to high school. He's already officially retired. Why isn't Debo getting more plays? Debo Samuel is, I mean, he only had that one catch yesterday. I know that he got a carry or two, but he just wasn't featured in the game plan. Yesterday was more of an Ayuk and a Kittle game. That's just sometimes how it works out. But I agree, he's got to be a little bit more featured. They need to balance it out a little bit more. When the 49ers offense is clicking at full efficiency, it is definitely more evenly distributed. Inside into the 49ers, guiding Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Njigba and Lockett. Well, I think Tyler Lockett and Deommodore Lenoir, that's a matchup that the 49ers probably favor. That's why Deommodore Lenoir is playing so much in the slot in nickel. Charvarius Ward against DK Metcalf has been favorable to the 49ers in the past, but we're going to have to look at that injury situation for Mooney. And I thought Isaac Yiadom played actually a good game against Arizona. He gave up the fourth down to Harrison, but that was just a great play. Also won a battle against Harrison, broke up a pass earlier in the game. I am going to Seattle. Yes, I will be leaving in just a couple days. I'm actually going to fly the morning of up to Seattle. I'm going to start walking down. What fixes come on, Mike. What fixes the red zone issues for the 49ers? I think I went over at the start of the video. I can't just keep on talking about the red zone. Dan Nelson, who are the 49ers? All caps. We'll find out. You don't know who a team is until they go through the fire. And I think that the 49ers are in the fire right now. So we'll find out about who the 49ers actually are. Any more? I'm going to leave you guys with a nice view. From Dolores Park. Hope you guys enjoyed the ride. We started at the Saints bar. We finished here at Dolores. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.